You brought with you Mike Harris today. He's the president of AFSCME Local, representing Detroit Medical Center. Mike, welcome to Your Voice. How you doing there?
Good, thank you. And thank you for inviting me to your show.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Good to see you. That's for sure. Now, I know that as a union, you all are not partisan. Why don't you explain who you're speaking for today?
Absolutely. And I need to make this disclosure. This is a full disclosure.
Right.
AFSCME Council 25 is not supporting any candidate for this mayoral race.
Okay.
This has been voted on and has been accepted and approved by all of the union members. So I want to make that off the record clear.
Right.
That's not what I'm doing. I'm not supporting Council 25, or am I supporting AFSCME? I'm supporting Local 181, Detroit Receiving Hospital.
So Local 181, Detroit Receiving Hospital is who you're representing?
That's who I represent. That's who I'm the president of and been president for 22 years.
And you came here because that local, specifically local, is endorsing Mike Duggan?
Absolutely.
And why?
Well, again, we have to start at the beginning. There was a time before Mike Duggan came to Detroit Medical Center that Detroit Receiving Hospital was scheduled to close. It had been, a decision was made that the Detroit Receiving and Hutzel Hospital were going to close. So when Mike came to Detroit Receiving, we were in a free fall, meaning the DMC and Detroit Receiving Hospital was in a free fall, which meant we were all going to lose our jobs. And when I first had the opportunity to meet Mike, we met almost in the same conditions we meet now, in turmoil. When I first met him and I had turmoil until we finally understood that we are actually on the same page.
Okay.
Now.
And why did y'all have turmoil?
Well, because when Mike was selected for the CEO position at the DMC, when he came in, we were already scheduled to close, and therefore I felt that he was a continuation of what we had already had. Because I never had met Mike, and him and I had never had any conversations. So to me and to my membership, he was an extension of what was already had been given to us, which was we were losing our job and Detroit Receiving Hospital was closing. And in that employee forum that we had, once Mike got done doing his presentation that he had set up at all of the DMC hospitals, he then asked, were there any questions? And, of course, because our local was catching hell, I was the first one to raise my hand. And I asked Mike straight up. I said, Mike, if you believe that the DMC is in the best interest of the employees and the presentation that he put forth was so good, I said, why are they scheduled to close Detroit Receiving Hospital and Hutzel Hospital? And how can the employees embrace such a vision when we getting ready to lose our jobs? Well, as soon as I said that, the whole room just went wow, because everybody wanted to know the same thing. How are we going to be so motivated and upbeat about the things that you just said when Detroit Receiving Hospital and Hutzel Hospital are closing? And it's in the paper. We come to work every day knowing that we read the front page of the paper. It says Detroit Receiving Hospital, Hutzel Hospital closing. There is no incentive at all to do no work at this point.
Right.
So Mike then showed me the first thing that I had never seen out of all the CEOs I had dealt with at the DMC is he showed patience.
Okay.
He listened to what everybody had to say. And people were venting just like they're venting now. And he listened intently to what they were asking him. And at the end of all of his questions, he tried his best to answer each one to the best of his ability, which was really rare because generally they tell you what they want you to know and then shut it down. So Mike then said something to me that will forever be stuck in my gut.
Okay.
He told me, he said, Mike, looks like we have some problems at this hospital. And I said, we do. He said, well, can you at least let me find the bathrooms first? Because I don't even know what the bathrooms is around here. And everybody in the room just hit the ground laughing and falling out. And he brought the level of tension down so low that everybody then had an opportunity to see the CEO of the DMC addressing their issues in a manner that was something that they could relate to. So, again, because to me, I don't know about nobody else out here. I'm going to speak for myself. I believe in God. I was going to my job. Mike was going to the next meeting. And I heard a guy behind me say, hey, Rebel Rouser. And I turned around. I said, yeah, that's me. He said, I just want to ask you one question. Can I ask you one question, please? I said, you sure can. You can ask me any question. He said, I just want to know, what are you going to do? And what have you been doing to try to help this DMC situation in particularly Detroit Receiving Hospital? And so I told Mike, I said, you know what? Our union, along with the citizens of Detroit and our membership, have went to Lansing. We went down to the city council. Luckily, we got a hold to Mary Mahaffey. She was good. She was helping us. And we have found other allies that was trying to stop the closure of Detroit Receiving Hospital. And I told him I will continue to keep fighting to make sure the Detroit Receiving Hospital and Hutzel Hospital would not close. And he then looked at me, only like Mike can, eye to eye, and he said, well, guess what? And I said, what? He said, well, I'm going to help you. And I said, sure you are. You know how I heard that before? I heard that out your predecessor. He said he was going to help us too. And you see what he did, and Mike stuck his hand out and shook my hand and said, I give you my word. He said, in 2 weeks, I'll get back with you, and then we will decide and determine how we got in this position and how we're going to get out. And again, I said to Mike, yeah, I've heard that before. But in 2 weeks, Mike came back to me. He told me, this is what's getting ready to happen right now. You're getting ready to go meet with the DMC Board of Directors. I'm sorry, DRH Board of Directors. And you're going to be on a committee to help select a new president for Detroit Receiving Hospital. And from that point going forward, every single decision that was made when it came to Detroit Receiving, he made sure that labor was involved. He never made a decision involving the DMC that the union was not sitting at that table. Same thing at Detroit Receiving Hospital. So I'm here today because I want the city of Detroit to know that Mike Duggan is a man of his word. Mike Duggan did do what he said he was going to do. And lastly, and the most important thing is that Detroit Receiving Hospital is a lifeline to the city of Detroit, always has. Mike Duggan also put a promise down that as long as he was CEO of the DMC, that no one would be turned away from Detroit Receiving Hospital. Now, people will say Detroit Receiving Hospital is just a trauma center, but it's not. We have a burn center. We have a mental health center. We have a whole lot of services that the city of Detroit need that had no insurance. They didn't have nowhere else to go. The mental ill people were walking around the hospital trying to find places to get medication because they had no insurance. So at the end of the day, I'm here for one reason and one reason only, because Mike Duggan came to Detroit Receiving and the DMC, put a promise down, kept his word, and from that day, and that was 10 years ago, to this day, he has never given me or anyone that I know of in labor his word and did not follow through on it.
All right, wow. All the candidates are